If a friend or colleague gives you a spreadsheet, especially a complex one, it can take you a while to unravel the logic. For example, it might not be obvious which cells contain input constants and which contain formulas, or it might not be obvious which formulas depend on which other cells. Fortunately, Excel provides a formula auditing group on the formula ribbon for analyzing how the logic in a spreadsheet actually works. Here is the formula auditing group, and I will explain most of the buttons shortly. These buttons can help you understand someone else's logic. They can also point out deficiencies in the logic, which you can then try to fix. For example, they might indicate a dangling constant, which is currently not used in any formulas, but should be. In this video, I will illustrate a few of the possibilities. The model shown here calculates the profit from a mailing campaign. A company mails brochures to 100,000 prospective customers, 3% of whom are expected to respond. There are printing and mailing costs of 10 cents and 15 cents per brochure mailed. There is also a fixed printing cost of $20,000. Each customer who responds spends $60 on average, and 60% of this amount is incurred as an order fulfillment cost. Although this is a small model, it fits entirely on one screen, it might take you some time to unravel the formulas and understand the logic. Here is where the formula auditing buttons help. First, you can select any cell and click the Trace Dependence button to see how that cell is used in formulas. By clicking the Trace Dependence button multiple times, you can see the dependence of the dependence. To get rid of the arrows, you can just click the Remove Arrows button. Here is an example. Let's see how the $60 input affects later formulas. I will click Trace Dependence. So it's part of the $36 formula, and it's part of the total revenue formula. If I click Trace Dependence again, I see the dependence of these. For example, they eventually lead to profit. Then I can get rid of all these arrows by clicking Remove Arrows. Some cells might not have any dependence, which could be a deficiency in the model. Let's take a look at this 10 cents. If I click Trace Dependence, it says that there are no formulas that refer to this cell. The same goes for the 15 cents cell. So if I change 10 cents to, say, 20 cents, nothing else changes. Which is not the way this should work. I'll change it back. The required fix is to add a formula for the total variable cost. Now 10 cents does have a dependent, as it should. Another way you could see this deficiency is to add a watch to a cell like the profit cell and see how it changes when you change an input. I'm going to go to the profit cell and add a watch, which is also in the formula auditing group. Now I'm going to watch what happens in this watch window when I change an input. For example, I will change the 60%. What happens to profit if the order fulfillment cost is only 30%? This should lead to a higher profit, but nothing happened. Profit is still $27,000. Something must be wrong. I'll close this watch window and see if there is a dependent of this cell. There is none, but there should be. There should be a formula in the cell below. It should be equal to 30% of the average amount spent on an order. Now if I look at the watch again, and change back to 60%, the profit changes appropriately. So far, I've looked at dependents. What about precedence? You can also see precedence of a cell. For example, I will trace the precedence of profit. The two cells, total revenue and total cost, feed directly into profit. If I click Trace Precedence again, I can see what led to total revenue and total cost. And I can keep working back through to see what led to what. If you want to see all of the formulas, you can click the Show Formulas button. As you can see, there is a keyboard shortcut you might prefer. Anyway, this is a good way to show all of the formulas in your worksheet. Clicking this button again returns you to the original values. Finally, the formula auditing buttons help to some extent with formulas that reference other worksheets, which can be particularly difficult to trace. I will first add a formula that references another worksheet. If I trace its precedence, I see this symbol. It just indicates that there is a reference to another worksheet. I can double-click this dotted line to locate the cell reference in the other worksheet. Again, this helps you find what is related to what. The formula auditing group is not a magic bullet. You will still need to do some detective work to thoroughly understand or fix a complex spreadsheet model, but these tools can help a lot.